Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Title Scoop. So this week we're going to talk about what to do when a buyer has said they want to waive their title insurance. So since TRID went into effect in 2015, I feel like we've had an increase in buyers who want to waive their title insurance. Part of that's because because the CD points it out. It says owner's policy or owner's title insurance optional, but I also think it's because consumers don't really understand what title insurance is and what it covers. So when I get the question, why do I need title insurance? I usually use it as an opportunity to educate the consumer on what it is that title insurance really is covering. And some horror stories, honestly, to help them understand what could happen if they don't purchase title insurance. So I try to point out to consumers, if they are saying they want to waive it, that this is really a big purchase. It might be the biggest purchase of their life, and they're not covering their title related issues. And sometimes that's because they don't understand, right? They think that they're buying homeowners insurance and that covers the same matters, but it doesn't. So pointing out, no, this is actually going to cover liens and, prior mortgages, things like that, which your homeowners insurance does not cover. The other thing is I try to point out, hey, this is a one-time fee. You guys don't have to pay anything moving forward, and this is going to cover matters that happened in the past, which is a little different than most insurance. Most insurance, you're going to pay recurring fees, and it's going to cover something that happens in the future. So pointing that out and helping them understand what it actually covers, again, helps them maybe make the decision of whether they really do want to waive title insurance. Then I like to give them stories because I honestly think that's the best way for people to really understand what it covers. So some of the ones that I've used in the past that I think help people really understand, they are a little bit of a horror story, but they also, I think, get your point across of the importance of title insurance. One is one that's probably the most prevalent, and that's when buyers they actually do purchase an owner's policy, and they go to either sell their home or refinance their home, and they find out the prior owner had a home equity line of credit and it is not released. They also find out that prior owner decided to max it out before he leaves the country and can't be found again. And unfortunately, if you don't have title insurance, you're going to have to take care of this yourself. You're going to have to hire an attorney, you're going to have to pay fees, and you may even have to pay off that home equity line of credit in order to move forward with your refinance or sale. If you have an owner's policy, you can file a claim with your title underwriter and you'll work with them to resolve the issue. Another one, and this doesn't happen as often, but with fraud so prevalent, I do think that you will still see this, and I've seen it over the years, is people purchase a property. In the case that I had, and this was years ago, they had purchased a homeowner's policy, which is great, an Alta homeowner's policy. And so what happens is they receive this late notice in the mail, and it says, you have a line of credit, it's in default, and we're going to foreclose. And they're like, well, we didn't take out a home equity line of credit. What's going on? So they do a little research and they find out someone had stolen their identity, taken out this loan, and then again disappeared, because that's what happens. And because they had a homeowner's policy, which was, like I said, it's really great when you can get them to buy a homeowner's policy, it covered post-policy forgery. Again, use this opportunity to, one, tell them what title insurance is, but if you can help them understand what a homeowner's policy does versus the owner's policy, they may be inclined to do the homeowner's policy because it just has better coverages than the owner's policy. If, again, it's available in your state, because that is always the caveat here. The last one I had happen years ago, and it was a little bit crazy, is we had, they bought the property. And then about a year later, a woman shows up to their door and says, what are you doing in my house? And they said, what are you talking about? We purchased this house, a year ago. She said, no, I own this house with my estranged husband. And they said, okay, well, and so they start looking into it. There's a deed. Looks like it's from estranged husband and wife. And they come to find out that estranged husband decided to sell the property, have his girlfriend pose as his wife, get a fake ID, and sign all the documents. So they ran away with the money, and wife, who is actually in title, was out the money. In this case, again, they had an owner's policy, so they were working with the title underwriter. However, if they wouldn't have had that, they would have had to hire an attorney, pay the attorney to try to resolve this, and likely have to pay that wife some amount of money because she was entitled to it because she still had an interest in the property. So if you have given all of these stories and all of these reasons, and this buyer is still like, nope, I don't want it, we usually do have them sign a form just acknowledging that they do in fact understand, they're waiving it, and they, sometimes we'll even have a hold harmless in there. They'll hold us harmless for any matters because they have waived title insurance. I'm not going to put the form because every state's a little different. Some actually require a certain form if there's a purchase money mortgage. So if you guys need that, just ask your underwriter and they can provide it. If in fact you have that document and you are trying to get it signed and the buyer is still, they're saying, yeah, I'm waiving it, but I refuse to sign it. I had that happen one time. That's why I'm bringing it up. I actually just put it in front of them and then annotated what happened. They refused to sign, and then I signed and dated, so I had it for my file. So if it ever came up, we would have it as documentation. So with that, we're gonna call it a day, and we will see you guys all next week.